look at tools like intro stars, where every introduction is tracked, how do you think that will change the game for people who are part of a community?
Being part of a system that it's already set up from the get-go.
But at some point, you need to monetize somehow.
You just have to bring positive energy into a space and people want to talk to you.
Hey, this is Mike from Intro Stars. I'm very excited to bring you a brand new episode of our Super Connectors podcast in New York. And today we've got a really special treat. We've got Pam, a natural super connector who's been doing this her whole life. So Pam, great to have you here.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So Pam, what does it mean for you to be a super connector? People throw that word up in the air, but what does it actually mean? Especially you've been doing this your whole life. Like what does it mean like on a personal level?
So I think for me, it means two things. So one is I love to super connect individually with people. So like I love learning about people. And when I was a kid, people thought I should be a journalist because I was always asking people questions and almost interrogating people because I wanted to learn like everything about them. And then also on top of that is also connecting people with each other. So since I also have a really good memory, so I tend to remember random things about people. So I'll be talking to you and then I'll hear something and I'll be like, oh, they should talk to this other person that I know. And one of my favorite things is having my friends hang out without me. So if I connect to people and they start spending time together, like that makes me so happy.
Yeah, so it's like a natural talent to connect the dots in your head, to remember small details about everyone so you can create this matrix in your brain of who would get along with whom.
Exactly.
And then obviously the success of having people meet once you've introduced them, right? That's
Right.
always warms your heart, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so cool. So how do you bring that into your day-to-day business life? Or like what types of people do you introduce on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So one thing I started doing at my first job in tech, I worked at ClassPass, the fitness app.
Oh yeah, I love
And,
ClassPass. So
yeah,
cool, yeah.
I know. I mean, I loved it too. That's why I wanted to work there. You know, I sent out my intro email to the whole company and 30 people wrote back and they wanted to get coffee. So I got coffee with those 30 people and I thought, I'm just going to keep doing this. So every Tuesday at 10 a.m., I would send a Slack to 2 people in the company and I got coffee with 300 people at that company. And then I did the same thing at my next company and the next company after that. And now I'm trying to break into VC and I'm part of this angel investing group. And every week I meet with like 2 or 3 people from my investing group every week. And it just really grows, especially when it's within a community. You get to know people from all the different departments. You learn how the company works. You learn how people interact with each other. It gives you a better sense of like where the company's going, but also like where some of the gaps are and like who you can connect with each other to make their jobs easier, to make the company better. And even though it wasn't technically part of my job, it made me so much better as like an asset at the company just by doing that.
And all these hundreds of coffees, there's so many people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. How do you remember all of it? Do you have a system to track everything, to write down notes on everyone? It's all in your head? Like,
Yeah, so I'm a big spreadsheet person. So I use Notion. Back then I used Google Sheets, but now I have like a very intense like database of all the people I know and meet. I also use LinkedIn a lot. Like I love LinkedIn because as soon as you meet that person, then it has their photo. It has like usually a message about how you met them.
Yep.
So it's just like a good capsule of that. So
yeah, I use LinkedIn myself. That's my CRM system. I connect to everyone I meet. And I always try to send them a message to say, hey, we met there. It was great to meet you. We talked about this. If I look back 3 years later, I can see the first message I sent them.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a good system I use. Now, obviously, you build this whole network of people. You keep meeting people all the time. You keep connecting those dots. But at some point, you need to monetize somehow. So how do you walk that fine line about building long-term relationships, your personal brand as a super connector, and also monetizing either for yourself or other people for them to monetize? How do you make that work?
Yeah, I think that has been a struggle because I think as a woman, as like someone who's a giver, it feels really tough to ask people for things. But I think what I've come to realize, especially as someone who's super into personal finance, really realizing that a lot of women, people of color, like they don't like invest in themselves and at their own expense. So it's like put your mask on first, right? Like if you are just giving so much, then you're not going to be able to be a good provider for other people if you're not investing in yourself. So, obviously you don't want to make the whole situation transactional, but figure out a way where there's equity, where there's fairness in it, like, being paid for your time, filling your own cup. So that way you can continue to be someone that others can rely on and, be a great connector. So.
And how do you do that in terms of connections? Do you sometimes charge referral commissions? Do you pay other people referral commissions? What is the model for you?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I'm part of a lot of communities and a lot of them are paid communities and people have told me like, oh, I don't want to pay for friends. And I was like, well, you're not really paying for the friends. You're paying for the, the access. Well, you're paying for the framework around it. I'm part of a co-working space. They need to pay for the rent. They need to pay for their staff. They need to create a great experience. I'm going to pay for that. I'm not paying for the individual people. that I'm meeting, but I'm paying for the container that we're in. The same thing with my angel group. Like it does have a fee, but I get so much out of it. And like they need to be able to stay in business and continue to be that space for us. So part of it is I am like a ambassador for pretty much every community I'm part of. So like I'm really big on like, like if I get a referral bonus, then I want the person I'm referring to also get a bonus of some sort. A lot of programs are set up that way.
But obviously, all
Well,
these communities,
yeah.
a big appeal to joining a community is for community members to make introductions for each other. Right? That's a big part of it. Like, I'm part of a bunch of communities. It's all about referring each other, sending intros to each other. So do you see that also in the communities you're part of, where it's all about introducing people to each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about, like, your goals and, like, having the same goal, and I don't think monetizing it necessarily changes the goal, it just makes it a bit more fair, and like I said, like, I am not gonna change like, I'm not gonna refer more people because I'm getting paid for it, but I am gonna feel like, "Okay, wow, this is, like, progress for all of us just by" so I think
Being fairly compensated,
we're
right?
being fairly compensated for something you're already gonna do.
Doing this, you love it, but it's at least you're getting fairly compensated,
Right,
at least. Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. So if you look at tools like intro stars, where every introduction is tracked, whether you make an introduction, receive an introduction, and you always fairly compensate the introducer, or you always get fairly compensated. How do you think that will change the game for people who are part of a community or people outside there who want to become introducers and make more introductions?
Yeah. No, I think it's really interesting because I think, I know I've heard other people say this as well, that it's like the it's such a hard conversation to have about it and being part of a system that it's already set up from the get-go, like you don't have to feel bad about it because that's just how the system works. And I think also just like having that buy-in from the get-go, like you're not going to see it as transactional because it's just part of the system and it's not like one person's paying, one person's not. And also it is about the quality. Like it doesn't make any sense to refer someone that is like low quality because they're not going to get that positive outcome. So I think it's great because it provides fairness for everybody. So
Yeah, so fairness for everybody. Everyone's intentions are aligned. Everyone's rewarded in an aligned way. So it's a win-win-win every single time. So yeah,
exactly.
that really helps. So tell me, how do you see that for young people who are coming out there in the workforce for the first time, joining a community? They don't know much about networking, connecting people, how to monetize that. For them, it's kind of a big blur. What advice would you have for them?
Yeah. So it's funny. So I'm trying to post a little bit more on LinkedIn, and I actually just posted about how I'm a millennial, like proudly millennial, and how much I've learned from my Gen Z peers, and like how like I think everyone millennial plus should have a Gen Z mentor. And I think a lot of young people feel like they don't have something to offer, but I think what energy are you bringing to the places that you're going? Like that's like a big thing. Like you don't need capital, you don't need a reputation. Like you just have to bring positive energy into a space and people want to talk to you. Like asking questions, like that's a gift to someone to ask someone questions, and I think you don't need to necessarily have like clout in order to be a network, like make a network for yourself. Even within VC, like in February, I didn't know anybody in VC. And now like I'm interviewing for jobs at like VCs that I can only dream of ever working at. And it's just because of the genuine connections that I've made along the way. And yeah, and I really think that anyone can be a connector. It's not like a special skill set that only a few of us have. So yeah.
No, I agree. I think we want to inspire millions of people to become connectors and super connectors and master connectors and literally connect as many people as possible. That's,
Right.
makes everyone better, more successful. It helps, the world be a better place if we can connect people and bring them together, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny. You know those games where you have to say what your superpower that you'd want? And I was like, I'd want to be friends with all 8 billion people on Earth. And then my friends are like, that would come with so many problems, right? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, isn't that similar to being like a god or something? And I was like, I didn't really think about that. I just thought about how cool it would be to like know everybody, walk into any room and just like always have people that, are smiling or happy to see you.
But you're on your way to get there. You already know a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, I
people.
know.
So
That's
you're on
another
your
joke.
way.
It's like I'm
Okay.
working on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And so what are you working on now? Where can people follow you? Are there any specific projects that are dear to your heart you're working on right now?
So one thing I'm trying to do is build up resources for people who are trying to break into VC or also trying to become a founder. So I created a Notion page with resources of VC information, but also like things for founders, like grants and just other resources out there. I also am part of Angel Squad, which is the angel education network within Hustle Fund, which is a VC out of San Francisco. And every month with Brian, who's the head of he's the founder of Angel Squad. We interview a different VC about their journey into the VC world. And it's really to help people learn about how to break into VC. So while I'm trying to do it myself, I also want to help other people get there, and especially women, people of color, like just getting diverse people into being a founder or being a VC is something I'm really passionate about, because I think that's only going to make the world better when we have different perspectives, sitting in the place where they're giving capital, where they're getting capital. That's how we're really going to make the world a better place, is by having those different perspectives. So.
Perfect. So you encourage founders or would-be founders or investors to reach out to you?
I was going to say, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Pam. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. I love your mission to connect to 8 billion people. A very ambitious mission, but I love it. You're on your way there, and I'm sure lots of people will be very delighted to reach out to you. Cool.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. Take care.